Hello and welcome to Stubtown, PSUTV's review show. Today, we're talking Sully.
Texas 1549, runway 4, clear for takeoff.
Sully. Sully.
Sully, we're too low.
Sully.
Sully!
Sully. Sully, where are you?
No one warned us. No one said you were going to lose both engines at a lower altitude than any jet in history. This was dual engine loss at 2,800 feet, followed by an immediate water landing with 155 souls on board. No one has ever trained for an incident like that.
Okay, so Sully, who wants to give me like a quick little summation of the movie?
I'll step back from this one
All right.
because I usually give a very quick.
Yeah, if you want to give a quick overview
Okay.
of the film.
Gosh, who doesn't know about what happened? So Chesley Sullenberger was flying U.S. Airways 1549 from New York to South Carolina, North Carolina?
Didn't make it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't even get close.
When they hit birds, and the bird strike takes out both engines, and he has like 2.5 minutes to decide what to do.
Yeah, and what I really, because when I heard what the movie was about, I was like, how is this going to be? Like 2 hours of just, are they going to build up to it? Is it going to be like, we know and we watch him get on the plane? And I was really hesitant because I was like, how do you do that? But I loved that they focused a lot on the fallout of, like, even though we did everything right and everything went as perfect as you could hope for, like, there's all this doubt thrown into that. And I thought that was a really smart choice, that it was more about, like, his personal integrity than it was about, watch this plane land, it's drama.
Exactly. It's a tough movie to tackle for that reasons too. Because like everybody in the U.S. pretty much knows how this story ends. They know that or like the story that we were told through the media. They know that he lands in the Hudson River and that everyone survives barely without a scratch. So yeah, the subject matter for the movie isn't about like the crash and like leading up to it, because like everybody knows how that would end. It's much more about his personal trauma with the whole situation, which is a very smart way to tackle it, I think.
Oh yeah, they do a lot of very well done visualizations of like his fear and stuff. Like I liked a lot of the framing and stuff in this movie. Like there's one shot where he's by a window, and then we'll talk about that in the spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I really liked was the long lenses in this movie. There's such a shallow depth of field for most of the film, and it's a lot of close-ups. But it's because like it's almost claustrophobic, like the whole movie. But it works really well thematically with how Sully's feeling like under the spotlight and very like surreal. And there's moments where they talk about like comparing like this to like real life, and when we get back to reality, I was like that. It's just really nice to have the camera work reflect that, and then do like some other things to reinforce that. But yeah.
Well, I think especially because our view of it up until the film was that wide angle of the plane floating with everyone on the wing, and none of us saw what was happening in the cabin, what was happening in the cockpit, what was happening to those people on the raft, and you very much felt that.
The fact that no one used their seats as flotation devices.
Right. I think only 2 people used their life vests.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so frustrating. I was like, they show the inside of the plane and all of the seats are floating there, and I'm like, you have so many seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd freeze to death in that water, though.
Oh,
Yes.
man. That was one of the craziest things, like, I never thought about. And the movie does a really good job of communicating just how cold and intense it was. Even for the people who didn't jump in the water and were on the rafts and stuff. It's like, whew.
And that's where I thought the cinematic aspect came in, because the music, the sound effects, the compositions, everything. At one point, I could feel my whole body, like all my muscles were like tense, and I was like, okay, relax. Like I was in the movie. It was really well done.
Well, that just is the product of really good directing.
Oh man,
I mean,
it's so
Yeah.
good directing.
immersing you in the emotions that the characters are going through.
Yes.
in the
Yeah,
movie.
it's
That's
like
what it's all about.
Titanic. Like, you know how Titanic ends.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
everything leading up to it, but when you're watching it, you're so in it. And
Right.
Wow.
This movie, well, I mean, this movie at least.
This movie, yeah. This movie definitely.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Yeah. A different show. But I really did appreciate and I think part of the reason it was so able to be invested in it was the practicals. The fact that they did, what did you say? They got a plane and put it on a gimbal and a lake?
Yes, they took the actual, I mean, obviously not the actual plane, but one similar, a model similar, and yeah, they put it on a gimbal in a lake and
Awesome.
shot it there, yeah.
See, and there's so many places that would fake the water or fake more of it. And honestly, the CG in this movie is not great. Every time there's a CG shot,
When
you're just
somebody-
like, oh, goofy. Like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Well, because it was all the CG shots were like his visions of planes and how it could have gone wrong.
Well, and there's some shots of like that are supposed to be the plane and stuff that are just
yeah,
they're
you're
just
like,
not, they don't work. So I was so glad that they didn't try and rely on that more.
Right.
And I think it's part of why so much of that sold. I think it's been a long time since we've had an action sequence that was 90% practical.
yep.
And I really felt that as a film goer. Like there's no scene in a blockbuster that's had me so like in that moment because I don't know, it's your brain knows, even if you're not thinking about it, your brain just knows when stuff is fake. And
Yeah.
I really thought they did a great
So
job with
speaking of
this.
that, I was curious to ask you guys, the ferry boat operators and the pilot simulators, what did you think of them?
I thought they were good. Like acting wise,
Yeah.
I thought the flight simulators especially were good. It had that feel that it was like very method acting. Like
It felt goofy. Like the one female pilot felt a little like, oh, yep, all right. It felt like she got no direction at all, which I kind of actually
I felt like
liked.
that's how it would
Yeah.
happen in real life. She's
Yeah.
just a woman doing her job, casually sitting there. Like it was totally.
They were the actual people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that's why it felt so real.
That's
Because it
funny.
reminded me of like District 9, how all the actors getting interviewed in that movie are so good. It feels like they're actual people actually getting interviewed. That's how they felt.
And the
in
one
that
ferry boat
flight
captain,
simulator.
the kind of that you saw more than anybody else.
Yeah.
There was something about those two that just, I don't want to say bumped me because it didn't really like take me out and ruin it for me. I liked it, but
Right.
it was different enough that I noticed it. And in some of the interviews I watched,
And the
They
ferry
were-
boat guy was real? That was
yeah,
a
the
real
ferry
guy?
boat, yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Clint was very particular about he wanted it to be as authentic as possible and on as many levels as he could.
Yeah.
I will say, as soon as I left the movie, I didn't do like you did. I was tempted to just go Google everything about the movie.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a rabbit hole I could fall down. and
Oh,
just-
very much so.
Oof. What were some cool, like, authentic things that you noticed or that you read about?
Well, I know that like even costuming, they talked to Sully about different things. In fact, that scene at the beginning with Tom Hanks, I noticed he was holding his hands really weird, like
He's
to
got
really
both the
accentuate the rings.
I thought was
Yeah.
my thought during that scene. I was like, did they ask Sully if he showers with his rings on? That's a very intimate, strange detail to know.
I know, and then he washes his face, so you see the rings even more.
It's like, wow, what class year was that?
Right. The exact plane they used. I'm trying to think of everything that I. It was pretty. The only actually, it'd be easier to tell you what I noticed
Oh, sure, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
happen. Do you remember the father and
Actually-
two sons?
Yeah.
That was
Hold
a-
on, real quick.
I don't know if that's
Before we get into this, we should just we'll do some quick quick final thoughts. We'll do a recommend, don't recommend, and then we'll just roll over to the spoiler section.
Okay.
Because it's hard to spoil a movie like this, but
Yeah.
we'll just roll over there for safety's sakes anyway. So, Chris, do you want to start us off?
with.
Just a quick final thoughts, and then would
Okay.
you recommend it or not?
I would definitely recommend it. It was so well done, Clint. I mean, to me, to take something that we've all heard about, we know the ending. It was in the press for so long, and it was so important to New York. I think to take it and make it that. It's so well executed and it's so well done, and yeah, I would totally recommend it. And I saw it in the RPX.
Oh, like
So the seats would rumble.
Yeah. Oh my God! Wow.
I didn't know we
okay.
had one of those in
Yeah,
Portland.
it's
Oh, that's great.
Beaverton. Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was really fun there.
That would have added an
I would highly
incredible
recommend
phase.
that.
Yeah. I gotta do that soon.
Yeah.
All right, Tarek.
Yeah, definitely would recommend. Like Christy was saying, the movie is just very solid. Like Clint Eastwood isn't gonna mess up. He's just not. He's been doing it for too long. So yeah, definitely would recommend.
Cool. I would also recommend the movie. I thought it was really well done. And yeah, really, really, really engaging. And they were able to take the subtleties. Like, Tom Hanks's performance is so subtle. The camera work is nice and subtle. But they all weave together to make this a point of view to an event that really I just enjoyed the hell out of. And seeing somebody just execute on the level that Clint Eastwood does is just... Go see it. You got to see it. It's a thing you got to see.
Can I add another little thing to my
Yeah,
recommend?
absolutely.
I think also Aaron Eckhart is amazing, and his the person he portrays was pretty much unheard of during the whole thing. And so to learn that character, I hate calling him his character because he's a real person, but that person's story was amazing. And Laura Linney, you know, I mean, she was great. And so all the different people that played into this whole story,
Absolutely.
that was great to see.
Yeah. Okay, so we're headed over to spoilers. Hope we'll see you there.